All right, everybody, welcome back to episode 33 of the Michelle and Tony show. And for this episode, we're just two guys that are basically going to be checking up on each other, asking ourselves how has the journey been, what is the biggest challenges, what obstacles have we overcome, etc., 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 etc. I mean, think about it. I mean, we're out here all the time telling you guys about life, giving you guys advice, but nobody actually checks up on us. So if we don't do it for ourselves, who exactly will? Right? So I'm basically going to get the ball rolling by telling Tony to just give me a recap on how his day went.
My day.
Yeah, your day. Let's start from there.
Let's
Before
turn
we
into
before we dive in deeper.
my. I woke up. You say prayed and then.
You
Oh,
prayed.
yes, now.
You prayed. You actually prayed.
Prayed to God. I prayed. That was the first thing I did every single morning. I prayed.
All right.
So I prayed to God. After praying, I went to go and play sports.
Mm,
Right, because we are training. My departmental training next week is our departmental league and stuff like that. So I actually went to coach them initially. Then I just joined the training.
okay, you go to there.
Yeah, I'm the one coaching the team, but that
The
one shall
one
be.
back.
Sha, actually, the reason why I actually went to coach them today, I wasn't supposed to go for the training, just
Mm,
because I told them that I was done with anything that has to do with departmental like sports, anything that has to do with sports in my department, playing for them basically, because like the first time I came, there was like okay, this curiosity to know how my guys, my people are in my
mm,
how well they play. So I played well, and then I was like, at the end of the day, I was disappointed because no, they were shy. So throughout this whole journey, I've just been discouraged, and the scoreline has been discouraging. The score lines of every match we've played in have been very, very discouraging. So I just told them one day that I wasn't going to play. Then the DOG came and told me, guy, he begged me, telling me, okay, this, we can't be doing this, we can't be deflecting now, we can't be saying, oh no, we cannot continue playing, we don't want to play for the department. So I'm like, okay, if the only condition the Eagles are going to be willing to is if we can get someone that will coach us, or we have an internal person that coaches us. He said, okay, he can't get someone that coaches because seniors too are not even looking at us as serious people to coach. So I
mm.
said, okay, I'll take it upon myself to coach the team. So that was how I got into the
Ended
training.
up being
Yeah.
a coach. Wow.
So now it's now okay. I did training from that kind from 9 to 1:30 something. I was doing training. I
Mm,
came back. I had this like just napped for small, like small. Then had my beats. I went for match practice. Went for match practice. Then I won match practice. Went for fellowship and then now I'm here. Okay, I just stopped to watch
yeah.
Man U match.
Like okay, yeah, you went to watch ball, right?
Mm.
Mm. Because in the morning we say that after Carlson and Capsa will be here, and
And
then
I'm here now recording podcast.
no. Like it's not actually funny for me. Oh. You
Okay.
say after Carlson and all these things will be here, but like
After Carlson and Carlson, I'm here now.
you
We're
went
here.
you went to
We're
watch
recording.
ball
Yes, I did, but it's not that I watched the full match.
for over an hour.
It was not for over an hour. From 59 minutes to 90 minutes. Calculate it. It's not over an hour. From 59 minutes of the match to I was second half reserve. So it was not an hour that I spent
Okay, so
downstairs.
lately now, what are the major moves you have been pulling? Like, what are the major things
So
you have
of
been?
recent, yeah, I basically nobody knows about it. It's just not a trader, but I wanted to develop a AI app, like AI
Yeah.
trading tool. And then I know I was asked, I was asked, I was thrown into a lot of questions that, oh, what would differentiate my AI with other trading tools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had this big idea of what my trading tool would be like, try to solve all the problems that as young traders, beginner traders you would have. But then I saw that when I was basically doing more research into this AI trading tool, I saw that okay, there are other apps out there that already solve a lot of issues. Do you
Mm,
understand? But then I looked at it and I was like, there was no at first the idea from that was not like the idea was kind of like there, but then it was discouraging because I already created the idea, giving ChatGPT, basically rubbed minds together. Basically ChatGPT is more of a robot, we basically rub minds
yeah.
together kind of. And then then this like the idea did not at first hit me. This like way of like okay, doing every single thing that those other apps did wrong and making it like an improvement on my app. Do you understand?
Mm.
So that idea didn't come to me was one of our friends that came and said, "Oh, that's what he did," and I was like, "Okay, that was the next move. Like that was the next thing I did." So I basically created, you know, I just said search for the top 10 AI tools in the world. You know, like the likes of Quant Connect, the likes of trading, I trade ideas, the likes of trading GPT and stuff like that. A lot of trading AI trading tools, and I got good information because those are good trading tools.
Mm-hmm.
There's trading GPT just like the one of the ideas that I had that should be like a chat box.
Yeah.
You understand? Like yeah, we also have like chat box, and then I also wanted it to be usable for not just retail traders but also institutional traders, like you know people trading at the institutional level.
Mm.
So that was like the idea. Then I saw that okay, there are other apps, but then those apps had like they were mainly for those purposes.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let my app be more for everybody, be for everybody. Like, it's not just if you're considering just retail traders, it's retail traders can use it, institutional traders can use it, hedge funds can use it, whatever person wants to use it can use it. You understand? No matter
Yeah.
how what's it called, loan banks too can basically make use of my tool. So that was what I was this past few weeks I've been doing, and then it's not something that you just. For me, I feel like I'm the kind of person that before, and if I get an idea, it might not. I want it to be I want it to be idea to be very very what's it called?
Distinct.
Yes, this thing because the truth is, I remember when I met the first time I met the product designer. He told me I already had I told him the ideas I have for the AI. But what did he tell me? He told me that there are a lot of AI tools. I had an idea. I told him this is my idea. He said it was a nice idea. But he told me, do you know there are other AI tools? Do you know there are other AI tools?
Yeah, like competition is already high.
Exactly. Do you understand? Like if you can make your research on those other tools and
Mm.
basically get to know what they are good at, what they are also bad at. See, also give me a lot of ideas. So basically those kind of things, used to hinder like my growth in all those kind of situations. I try not to have that situation where somebody questions the idea that I have. So I try to make sure if I have an idea, the idea is well thought of, well streamlined before I
Yeah.
can make any major move in that idea. So that's basically what it was. And then so I've been doing that's what I've been doing. I created PowerPoints, pitch decks, created I've gotten the idea of what my AI tool would be, my AI tuning tool. I've created, basically like what I call it, like an idea. Do you understand? PowerPoint, what it would be. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that's basically the biggest thing I've done. And then the next thing I'm thinking of is, getting a patent, like getting it as my own, because that's the next thing before
Yeah.
getting a
Ownership.
product. Is like my own ownership
Uh,
of the company, and then that's the next big thing before I start thinking of having a team. Because it's not this the thing is I want it to be established by next year. But then before it's established by next year, I already have like a designer, right? There's a graphic
yeah.
designer, someone that can design the what's it called? Even the product designers I have to also like can do the UI UX design and stuff like that. So I also have like a graphic designer, someone who's also invested in the idea. I have a lot of, would I say not a lot of team, but I know I know a video editor I would also need a video editor in this thing because like it's just something that was part of the plans
Yeah.
basically. So I have these three persons and there's going to be more, I'm going to need more. Then okay, one of the things I'm also going to do in the coming days or coming weeks by God will create a feasibility report. I also create a pitch deck, but I also want to create a feasibility report. That's the next thing. I created a pitch deck. Pitch deck is like what the pitch you're going to present to your what's it called? Your
Investors.
investors, people that want to invest, like potential investors. But then a feasibility report is just basically like showing people it's also like the pitch deck, but just going to be showing you the possible upsides to your
To
product,
your plan.
to
Yeah.
your yes, to how important it is to society and stuff like that. Just basically that the feasibility report. Research on other how when I put it, I'll show you. But then those are the things I've done right so far, and those are the things those are the next things. So feasibility reports and patents, what is it called? Those two. And I'm working on another like one of my ideas, but this one is later on. But I'm going to also get what's it called? I'm going to register it as a company CAC by special grace of God by the end of this year. I'm going to call my cousin to help me do that. I already have people that can do that for me. That's TCH, that's Tony Capital Holding. So that one also like it's also like an idea in the works, right? I've also done the same thing. I created a pitch deck for that one and stuff like that. But before I can just like basically make a major move, I still need to do more ground research, ground like idea because it's not just something I can just have an idea of and then I also need to do more research on companies that are similar that will be that are similar to it and then tend to know their flows, tend to know what they do, what made them this, what made them successful, whether or not I should just copy them or I should think of something totally different or a totally different approach. Because there's sometimes where you actually just copy the people that did it and you actually do it much better. You
Yeah,
get my
yeah,
point?
yeah,
You
yeah.
cannot copy, replicate the thing that this person did, but you do it in a better way, like you do it in a better way, or just go into your own different approach. You get so like it's, I'm looking at it as okay, I need to do more research on these people to know what I can do differently or what I should do, to just do whether or not I'll do what they did, but in a more upgraded version, like a more better way, that kind of thing. And so yeah, those are the things I've done. So by the end of this year, these two will be um these two will be um all these things will be a fruition. So yeah, that's so far my you know plans basically. My plans basically. Yes.
Respect, man, respect. You know, there's something like I've, been thinking of. There's something I've been thinking of. There's something I've been thinking of. I've given this thing like so much thought. I've given this thing so much thought. But before I go down to it, it will only be fair if I, just like you give recap of your own this thing, give a recap of what
Mm,
I've been on and all these things. Uh, lately I've been working on my brand. I've been working on my brand. ZT Zero to Alpha is a self-improvement brand, and I think yesterday, like it was kind of weird because the day before yesterday was my birthday, and I think yesterday is when it actually dawned on me that I'm actually holding the brand back in the sense that the form in which it's existing now, I'm always holding on to that form. And like so what I did yesterday was to destroy everything I think I know about the brand and start rebuilding from scratch.
mm,
And actually today, yesterday, I remember just bringing out the book and the pen and everything, sat down to start working. I just had this block in my head, like nothing was flowing. I didn't even know where to start from. But then today I just gave it a chance. I told myself that even if I'm confused, I'm going to sit down with the confusion. And I sat down with the confusion. In less than a minute, I just started flowing. And these ideas are very, very good. And like they're now scalable for the new ZTA, not what already exists, but like, you know, and there are some guys that have there's a guy in my department. I know the guy, but like, I never actually knew that he's also invested in things like this. He has had the idea of ZTA, and the guy is really very, very invested. So like it's basically kind of like a like he counters everything that I see in the sense that okay, I tell him this is my new idea. The guy is very, very, assertive. He knows how to speak, he knows how to question. He asked me some certain kind of questions that hits me. Like I remember on Saturday, Sunday, both of us were talking. And at the end of the day, there are some questions that he asked me that I couldn't even answer. Basic questions about the brand that I couldn't even answer. So I went back, did my homework, and now I can answer those questions, right? It's questions like, what does your brand offer? Questions like, why should we choose you over anybody else? Questions like, what does your brand stand for? Questions like, when people hear your brand, what should come to their mind? All this kind of thing. So I went back, did my groundwork, all these things, and I basically, have everything in motion. So back to what I was saying. I was thinking of this podcast, right?
mm.
I was thinking of this Michelle Anthony show, and I was thinking of those how much I actually love this podcast. Like I love this podcast with everything inside me. Like I just love the podcast. I love the way we grew. Right. I basically remember our very first episode. I remember how, you know, scattered and nonsensical it was.
Mm.
I remember, and I can see how we are now. We're not the best, but like there's visible change. So I now ask myself, where does where does where does it fit into what I'm planning? Like where does the podcast enter the whole equation, right? I mean, for me, like ZTA is just my thing. Like I just love ZTA so much. I also love the podcast, and man, I was just thinking, and then this thought of, I don't even want to say it. I honestly do not even like want to open my mouth and say it. But like the thoughts just, I don't know why the thoughts lingered in my head. I honestly don't know why the thoughts lingered in my head. And I told myself that I am going to ignore the thoughts. I'm going to like fuck that thought and just work on my brand and all these things. And that is why before we started this podcast, I told you that we seriously have to talk. Because one thing about me, like I always like to give it my best. Right? I always like to give it my best. Like for example now, the time that I'm working on ZTA now, do you know I can actually be doing a research. I can actually be doing a research on what people are listening to right now and hop on that wave. The time that I'm working on ZTA now, I can actually be, there's something that Stephen Bartlett said. He said that every content you're creating, focus on the back end. That is, go to the back of, like, go to the settings and all these things and check episode. Check where listening was high, listening was low. People continue. People, I can actually be doing all these things for this podcast, but I'm not doing them. And the fact that I'm not doing them is even telling me that I am consciously holding the podcast back. Like,
Mm.
because I'm not giving it my all. Right. And like, I don't know, guy. Like, you just like, I just love this podcast. Like, I love this podcast very, very well. Nobody told us to start a podcast. Nobody inspired us to start a podcast. We just did this. Like, we didn't even fucking care what anybody had to say. I remember that first time we're spamming all the group chats in the world with our flyer and all these things, and like, honestly don't know. That is why I wanted to like talk to you, so I also like you know get to know your own take on like where this podcast actually like stands.
The thing about what's it called growth is that when you grow, it's like when you grow, you tend to outgrow things too, right? Now I'll give you an example of a snake. A snake sheds this whatever its skin normally. And another example, another analogy, like an aeroplane. Sorry, a rocket ship. When a rocket ship takes off, right? When it is in mid-air, it's trying to break through the ozone layers and stuff like that. It tends to let
Fall
go of,
apart,
yes,
break off. Yeah.
exactly. That's that's just the analogy of growth. If you're trying to get past a specific layer of life, you're going to have to let go of some certain things. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But now it's not the case of those things you're letting go. Are they the ones holding you back? Because the reason why they let those rocket ships let go of those things is because they're heavyweight and they can't take those ships into space.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So are those the things that are meant to that are holding you back? If it's not something that's holding you back, if it's something that is progressing, it's something that is keeping you going in life, then I feel like you should consider it and never want to like not let it go. Is the like those are the things that should bring you together rather than pull you apart. If if the podcast is not something that is hindering your progress, then you should not, would I say, like consider letting go of the podcast. But if it's something that is you feel like it is a weight on your shoulder that you can't contain, then it's something that you should think about. I don't think it's something even you should think about, but it's something that you should let go of. Like just let go of it. If it's something that is hindering you, let go of it. If it's something that is not hindering you, then just keep on moving. Because to be fair, really, would I say you're more invested? I won't say you're more invested in your what's it called GTA than I am invested in what's it called MindOS or my other brands. But I would say it's just you are more focused on doing getting GTA done. GTA like it's already in the works. Do you get?
Mm.
Mine is not in the works, so I still have like time. That's probably why. But GTA now is already in the works, so there's a reason why you would feel oh, perplexed. There's a reason why you feel like this thing is like a what I say thorn in the side. But like it's normal. Do you understand? I feel like it's normal. It's something that happens. I will not tell you to let go of GTA because what would I want to let you let go? It's sorry, I won't tell you to let go of GTA because at the end of the day, it's something that you love. I'm not telling you to let go of my Mitchell and Anthony show because I mean it's a show that we started it, right? It's us. It's not just one of us. Then the only thing I'll tell you is just like the Rockets, what you think is holding you back, you just have to let it go. And there is no simple like there's no right there's no simple answer. At the end of the day, it is your choice that you make that decides how your future will basically be. You understand? I'm not going to tell you that we started this podcast with the idea of we just keep on just be consistent. We try our best to be consistent, try to find consistency. But at the end of the day, it's not the problem of being consistent, it's the problem of what is needed at that moment, what is needed for the betterment of the future. Do you understand? Sometimes it's not just consistency, sometimes it's not about consistency. The problem now is not consistency because we've been consistent for a long time. I mean, episode 33. This is a milestone that most podcasters fail to miss or fail to meet. Do you understand? So it's like um would I okay yeah it's like okay it's not about consistency like I said, but then this time it is what this podcast, what the show needs, right? Or what we as individuals need too. So you got to take those into consideration, that kind of thing.
I mean, like, yeah, man, I get what you're saying actually, and I just like, I feel like if I cannot give this thing my all, I'm not, I'm not like, I'm not playing the game right, right? Like, if I cannot give this podcast like my all, like I remember when I used to give this thing my all, I used to like after every episode I would listen to it, draft out snippets, send them to you, post them on my status, create a very compelling flyer. Like I remember when I used to do all these things, but like now, not just that, not just that I'm no longer doing these things. There are things that I know that I can actually do for this show, but like time factor and all these things. And the last thing, like honestly speaking, like the last thing that I'll ever want to do is actually quit this podcast because this podcast is the only thing, not the only, is the first thing that I actually like did in my whole life, apart from going to school, reading books, learning. Like this podcast is actually the only thing that I've ever done in my life, and then sometimes you be scrolling through social media and you be seeing some kind of things like don't spread yourself too thin and obsession over the craft and all these things. And I kept on telling myself, there's this line I used to like use for myself. I used to tell myself that like there was a time I actually believed in building ZT with simultaneously building the podcast. Like, you know, just
Mm,
it's just because I didn't want to tell myself the truth. Like because the truth is actually sometimes very, 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 very painful. Like I just didn't want to tell myself. So I was telling myself that I'm a very hard person. Like who cares? I can build this podcast and build ZTA. But like looking at it now, the thing about consistency just doesn't need consistency. There are other things that you need to put into the consistency now. Now the problem is no longer consistency. I can bring out two, you know, I can bring out a maximum of 2 hours per week to record podcast with you. 1 hour per episode, Wednesday and Saturday. But it's now what we are doing to upgrade, what we are changing, who are partnering with, all these things like they matter. And I know that they actually matter. And and I know that I'm not giving this brand my all. Like that is just basically where I stand. Like I just know that I'm not giving this brand my all. I can do more for this brand, but like I'm not doing it. And like you said, it's not just my thing. It is our thing. So me holding back is not just holding the podcast back, but it's also holding our shared vision back. Like I said, I've thought about this thing. I've thought about this thing in bedroom. Thought about this thing in class. I've thought about this thing when I'm taking a walk. I've thought about this thing. I've thought about it over and over and over again. And like guy, like I want to continue this podcast like with every single thing in me. Like I want to continue like countless times have I seen, both of us make it through this podcast. I remember that day when I was telling you how we can make $1 billion in one night when we get celebrities and to stream into the show $1 and because of we get so many celebrities that we get 1 billion streams and 1 billion streams equals like I was so invested in this thing and now all of a sudden it's just like God, like I honestly do not want to stop this podcast. Like I honestly don't want to stop this podcast. And I just want to like be assured. Like I just want to know it's possible. But at the end of the day, I cannot know it's possible. Like I just want to know it's possible for me to, you know, be doing ZTA while the podcast is still growing. Like I just wish in fact I just wish that I don't have to choose. And in fact, if I'm not even like going to choose, even if I am, it's not now, it's not next week, it's not next month, because it's just something I said I just want to get off my chest. Like because I've been feeling this thing over and over and over again. And the thing about my gut never lies to me. Like my gut instincts, they are sharp as razor. They never lie. So I've thought about this thing before, but that time it was just then. But like now that I'm actually thinking, I mean, you're even the one that used to tell me things like pick one. I remember when I wanted to start blogging and you asked me, are you into video editing or are you an affiliate marketer or are you a blogger or this thing? You have to pick one. And I kept on saying things like forget that and blah blah blah. And yes, I used to do all those things with the idea of I came into this world not knowing what I want to be. So I just have to test everything. Mm. In order to know what I like, what is truly for me. And after testing and testing and testing and testing and testing and testing, I came across this podcast and then I came across CTA. And these two things just like they're just the only things that I want to be doing for the rest of my life. Like I just want to build these two things exponentially. Right. So like man,
I mean, it's like for me, hearing you speak about this issue, I mean, like I said, it's not consistency. Like you say, consistency is not the issue, right? And like giving it your all has been, you feel like it has been a problem. I feel like me from my own end too. There's a lot I could do that is way like I could do way, 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 way better. In my own department, right? Way, way better. But like I haven't done it. Like I haven't done enough. In my own jurisdiction. But right, there's always a but. Do you understand? And that but is there's still a world where we can continue this thing, and then you know what we deemed it like. We just look at we just look at this like this event as like, oh yeah, that time. But I feel like hearing you, you've probably just already made up a decision. Like you've already had the decision already made up, right? You feel like there's this unending decision that you've made up already in your mind that you're like, I mean, it just basically comes down to that one decision because you said you've thought about it, countless times. It's not just once, it's not just twice, it's not 3 times. I feel like you made a decision, whether or not it's a hard one or it was very easy for you. Regardless, I feel like you've already had the decision already in mind. But I'll tell you this that there is still a world where I mean the podcast can still very much continue and like everything that we deemed it fit or we deemed it possible in this podcast becomes possible, right? And like that world is still very much possible. Like it's still very much in the works, it's still very much attainable. right? I mean, yeah, it's going to be very hard at the end of the day because there are chances where we by 200 level, we depart, we don't really see each other again. Maybe you go to this hostel, I go to that hostel. It's not possible for us to, be in the same room again or something like that. In two different ways. Yes, you go to face challenges there, but then I feel like we've already had a solution. Would I say,
for a long distance.
yeah, temporary, like it's not long, so it's temporary solution to that problem, but it is, looking at issues and trying to solve them because now I feel like I said, it's looking at issues and trying to solve them, but then at the end of the day, it is still, is this something worth solving? Is this something that you feel like there's a necessary solution to be was there's a necessary, like a solution necessary, like a needed solution, or you just feel like there is a need to solve the problem because the problem is just a kind of problem that should not be solved but should just be left as it is. The problem like that,
Mm,
that there are problems that just needed to be left as it is, right?
mm,
And there are problems that should, like, solutions should be, found,
yeah.
to solve the problem. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to decisions that you basically made up, and then it comes down to decisions you make, right? And for me, I won't say I have a decision yet, but it's like I still have to look at the, like, on what's go, what is possible, what is not. The look at the, the, would I say, like, also look at, imagine us, both of us have, like, if I think you, at least for some to an extent, you been able to get to a certain distance in your journey on GT, right?
Yeah.
And then I haven't even started, like I said, I haven't really started. I just have an idea based, like, I'm just building the foundation. Do you understand all
Yeah.
this? You know, and then so you're more, advanced in that what's it called? So I mean, imagine if we, both of us had covered ground in our, journey, on our various brand, then there's like a more, like, there's probably like that world where both of us are having that kind of issue, and it is obvious that okay, no and yes, in that, so no and yes, 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 let the podcast end. But then I'm still very much, around, still very much active on the podcast.
Honestly, like, I just like what you said is just basically, what I just basically wanted to hear. And man, I'm not going to choose, guy. Sure, you gonna. In fact, I refuse to choose, guy. Like, guy, it's like, no, you might think that it was easy for me and all these things, guy, bro. I love this. When I mean, I love this podcast. I love this podcast more than anything, guy. Like, I love this podcast, guy. So, like, I don't know. Maybe it will stung my growth or whatever. But like, at the end of the day, the thing about love is that you can't eat your cake and have it.
Mm-hmm.
So you grab.
Sacrifices will be made.
Yeah, you can't eat your cake and have it. And I love this podcast. Now that I'm thinking about it, well, like, why would I sacrifice one of the only things that I actually like genuinely in this world? Like, since I entered this school, everything has been bullshit. The hostel is bullshit. Lectures are bullshit. Most people are bullshit. Then I'll just sacrifice one of the only things that have made sense. One of the only things that have actually made me sound kind of interesting to people. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you have a podcast? Yeah, I have a podcast. The Michelle Anthony Show on Spotify. Like, man, I refuse to quit. Like, as far as you're still down, like, as far as I can still see that spirit of it's not over in you, then there's no way I'm going to quit, guy. Like, there's no way I'm going to quit. In as much as I don't give it my 100% all, like, I'm still going to be hitting record. I mean, guy, we saved money and bought this mic. Like, that is how
Mm-hmm.
invested we are in this dream. Like, I remember going on Jumia and looking for cameras. Like, as much as you know have the money, cameras of 500k, 600k, like,
You're aspiring to buy 500K.
exactly.
You crazy. So,
Like, so, like, I love this podcast, man. I love the podcast. Honestly, the truth is that it's because of what I saw on social media, right?
mm,
It's because of what I saw on social media of things like sacrifice. It's something that somebody said that Steve Jobs told him. See that Steve Jobs told him that you have to sacrifice a very good idea and something that you love for another thing. Like if you want to actually build something revolutionary, and then you see people like Frank Ikemefune and saying things like, "Yes, I know they are right and all these things, but like I can't like sacrifice my happiness like for something that I'm not sure at the end of the day will make me happy. I mean, working on ZTA makes me happy. I love ZTA. But recording podcasts with you make me like it's basically like, I mean like it's basically more of action
Mm.
than working on ZTA is just theory writing in books and all this thing. But like this thing is action, is real. It is happening. It's not an idea in our head. It's actually happening in real life, right? And man, honestly, guy, I'm not down to quit, guy. Shake grab. I'm not quitting, guy. I'm not quitting. I don't know why the thought has I like the thought has come, right? But thinking about it, like, man, I'm not quitting, guy. I'm not quitting. As far as I'm still alive, guy. Like, I just can't quit one of the only things I know that genuinely in this world I like, guy. I just can't do it, guy. In as much as even if you tell me that fine, I'll never be great and all these things, but like at least I'm happy doing this shit and I love this shit. So like, man, I'm not quitting, guy.
Yeah, so guys, just like as you say, we're not quitting, so we would want to inform you guys that um we're going to be hosting the FAFSAs and Glossa and I think yes, maybe by the goes of God, ESA's elections that are coming up. Just stay tuned.
Actually, right? I
Yes,
mean, I mean, this one we need to enter the wave earlier
yeah.
than we did last time with this SUG one. We need to just enter the wave earlier. Yeah,
Oh yeah, ESA week just finished. Do you know that?
yeah, that's how it was finished. Yeah.
That shit was boring as fuck. I don't know, like nothing really like. I'm on ESA, so I don't really know what went on. Sha. But so far so good. So far so good. Their week has been dull. Would I say at least.
Mm,
They're not doing very enticing to be part of. Just so that half is going to be nice. I was thinking of one day covering events in this school with Michelle Anthony show. Like imagine O27, O28 elections, the CG election. We are shooting like we're streaming it live, right? We're streaming live at the what is it called, the center, like
mm,
where the coalition is going on, like where the numbers are being read. Center voting. And, at main hall, there was like this place where the results was being read.
yeah, yeah.
So and you know how obviously now in that kind of thing you have the national TV, you have like um all these news outlets being there. So we can just be not necessarily news outlet, but like a podcast, just come and say, okay, we want to like cover this, stream it for students to see the elections and how like um you know that is how the free and fair election is being done, right?
Mm.
How free and fair it is, and see people's results, just on live in real
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
basically. So that was an idea I had for the podcast. But then is considering the growth,
I
of
mean,
this
I want to
podcast.
ask you a question. Like,
Mm.
why haven't we entered into video? Why haven't we entered into like video?
First, the thing is, if you told me today, let's use a iPhone camera to shoot a video, I'll tell you no because I feel like this video of a thing has to be calculated. You
Mm,
understand? Very much calculated. You can stay anywhere and do video, right? You can stay
exactly.
anywhere and do video. It's not about the studio or anything like that. No, that's not the problem. The problem is the video quality, right? iPhone is going to help us a lot, but it's not going to be as good as video, like with the camera. Do you
Mm.
understand? So that's why, like, I'm so,
I mean, like, I mean, like all this, sitting down not like somebody video, like we can set the camera, sit down, like sit down in front of, let's say, maybe Value Stable, like just like that kind of podcast you're watching this morning.
I
So like
get,
something like
yeah,
something like that. You must not, show the whole thing, but that kind of thing, like I mean,
I
to
get.
be
But
nice.
what
Even
is
if it's
it?
not like
What are we going to use video? Is the question. Is it your
you
phone
can just you can
camera,
just use
my
my
phone
phone camera.
camera? So I'm saying like the camera qualities are not good.
It doesn't necessarily matter. Those
It
kind of
matters to
no
me.
those kind of videos like that podcast you're watching this morning, was their camera quality good?
Very, very, very good. It's
It was
better than what your camera quality can
it was
give
not
us
good.
times
Like
times 100.
it does not necessarily have to be perfect, but like as far as your face can be seen, like I mean,
My face can be seen, yes, but then it's not like I see. It's not. I'm not evading the fact that my face can be seen. But the problem now is like there are details to things, right? That I would consider. Initially when we started the podcast, I was too sketchy about this like phone that passing on the phone,
yeah,
right? Because of the noise. I was thinking about the noise and everything. I was too edgy about it. But I just said it because it's the growth of the podcast normally.
yeah,
But then we got to the stage where we have mics now, right?
yeah,
At least now you know, don't people know that we have a podcast that's doing it because they know that okay they have to be quiet sometimes when they are like
yeah, when you're coming.
around or inside the room, which is good like that. So things have basically died down. I say, oh yeah, pipe down basically little. Now if you're not going to just start something like if you're just going back to I feel like before it wasn't calculated, it was just let's just continue the growth.
Mm,
I feel like now we've got to a stage where we cannot just continue the growth. Let us be more calculated with our growth. Let the growth of this podcast be more thought
natural.
of. No, not before it was natural. Now
Okay.
it has to be more thought of. We didn't when I say we didn't really think of it through because we came with just a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And then phone personal phone, which was like all over the place,
Yeah.
noise everywhere.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Yeah.
Then we bought a mic. Now we bought a mic, which is good. It's now okay. Let's now start thinking of okay, before we move to video, right?
Mhm.
Let's actually have things set in place to acquiring at least not the best, but a good enough
Good enough.
distance. So
Yeah.
that's how I see it. That's how I see it. Because if you just do video, I will be very, very edgy about it. I will be very, very like
Yeah. Yeah. I
there's
guess. I
this
mean,
feeling I'll
in as much as it's not supposed to be perfect, but like there are some things that are just supposed to be set in place,
have. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like we shouldn't be working with luck or
Exactly.
all these things. You just need to set some things in place so that.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, thinking about it, like that judge guy that said I wanted to start a podcast, but the problem he made was thinking of it as video,
Yeah.
right? And how consistent we be. I think one of the smartest moves we ever played was making our podcast audio
Audio.
at first, not permanently, but
Permanent.
just
Yeah.
at first. I mean, I think we're 45 episodes in the game now. We've recorded about 45 episodes now, and it wouldn't have been possible if it was video. I mean, look at my Instagram page. When last you see me post on that page? I mean, there's something. Yeah, because I didn't actually also think that one out too,
Mm.
right? I just hopped on it and all this. And another thing is because I was doing it alone. Sure, you grab because I was doing it alone. There was no other person there, and it's very, very different. Like comparing my Instagram page to this podcast, there are two different ball games, like completely. Like this podcast beats it hands down. Many things, in as much as that one is video and this one is audio, but like this one is actually scalable over time. I mean, there will come a time we'll set some certain things in place. I mean, yeah, you can actually build with this podcast. Like you can actually like connect with people that can actually go a long way in helping you build Mind OS or helping me build my brand, or even connecting us with people, or even like I mean, now I'm thinking about it. I mean, the podcast, like you said, it was never like an obstruction, guy. It was just my mind. Should I say playing tricks on me? But like, it was not necessarily an obstruction.
Hmm. Because to be fair, you've not only I thought about of how the idea, of if I was to build what I was envisioning, the concept, it was to build that thing. It is not on like I already put the plan in place. The plan is in place, but the plan now is the plan did not have the Chan Anthony show fitted in plans. Do you get
Mm,
like the plans that he built? The idea
yeah, yeah,
that the plan was not with the Chan Anthony show,
yeah.
right? So I'm like, okay, looking at all this, how am I going to put the Michelle Anthony show? It's because you have a blueprint of what ZTA would look like,
Yeah,
but because of Michelle Anthony show is not in that
in that
blueprint, you now feel
blueprint.
like there's no space for a Michelle Anthony show to
But
be.
like even thinking about it now, my whole life is not in the is not in the blueprint. So if I'm
Mm,
going to quit the Michel Anthony show, I might as well just quit school, quit talking to people. Like
yeah,
thinking about it, quitting everything that is not outside, that is not inside the blueprint
yeah,
is
exactly,
not the smartest move actually.
exactly. So it just
And too much content also, consuming all this content, and they were not. I'm not saying they are wrong, but like I should have just done what I felt like doing at the end of the day.
to get to the point where like this is not going to be the first, not going to be the last time we go to have thoughts like this, but it's just what we do to progress. You can think about it. You're allowed to think about it. You're allowed to have thoughts about it, but it's not like would you just leave the those thoughts to be like what I did was when I had thoughts about it, I quickly turned it into finding solutions to make the podcast much better so that it will not be like an hindrance. Maybe I would just say maybe the reason why I had that thought was maybe because I was seeing that it was dull or something. Then I started having like thoughts. This thing does not fit into this like previous ideas that I have. I just how can I make the campaign show as bright as these other ideas that I have? Like on my own, I just keep on thinking okay. Yeah, it's true. You can always, make it even more profitable, turn into a business,
Yeah,
a clothing brand or something like that. You know, the podcast can be, how this Amazon, how they do all this. Amazon is not a retail. It's not. Have you seen that thing that they do like Amazon is not a retail outlet or something like? It is a how would I put it? Like it's like a data something. Like all those kind of say this company is not this. Is that which one would I use? Do you know any fast food like biggest one of the biggest fast food restaurants in
no.
what's the name of this fast food in the US? Like the fast it's not actually a fast food, it's a real estate company. Because they have like
Okay, stuff like
they
that.
do stuff like that.
Okay,
They will
okay,
not say that the company is this. The company is a real estate or the company
okay,
is a fast food, but they're not saying no, it's not a fast food, it's actually this is actually their
okay,
listening.
okay, okay.
That kind of thing. So I was like in terms of this, you can actually just be a clothing brand. But people just think it's a podcast. Then like
Okay.
they get that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
okay, that kind of thing. Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
the vibes
And
that
that is the one that actually ends up being, the most profitable in the end
profitable
of the
part
day.
about the
Yeah.
year. Not even the podcast itself. You understand? So that's like what like the kind of vibes I would just basically throw at myself, those kind of situations, to that kind of situation can bring about solutions to your problems.
Yeah.
Because the truth about this thing is you might be feeling like oh it's becoming dull. Your idea is looking like you're shining more it's what you're shining more light on ZTA
On GTA, yeah.
than you're shining on what is it
On the
called. So if
podcast.
you're going to see that your light for this thing is dulling, just shine more light on it.
Exactly.
That's what I do. So
I
that's
mean,
basically what you
yeah,
overcome
and
it.
I'm working around the problem of not giving the podcast my all. I can maybe in as much as I don't like it's just something that I told myself. Like you said, when there's a problem, you have to think of a solution, right?
Mm,
So I just told myself that I'm not giving the podcast my all. But like today now, I didn't work on ZTA for 24 hours. I worked on it for like max 2 hours. And as much as saw me sitting down there, like I was on WhatsApp, ChatGPT. But let's just say I worked on ZTA for like 2 hours today, right? And let's say if I just stopped telling myself that thing and then I brought out like 30 minutes to 1 hour to, brand our podcast a little bit, find a way it can get better, something like that. It won't hurt, it won't bite, it
Yes.
won't like kill anybody. Nobody is now going to say, oh, because you did this, and like nobody actually writes all these rules. It's just things we tell ourselves at the end of the day, right? Nobody actually writes all these rules that you can't do this and do that, or you have to do that for this. Nobody writes these rules. It's just what we believe, right? And I believe that if I believe that I can actually we can actually build this podcast. Well, I mean, another reason is because I believe that we're two. She grab we're two.
Yes.
Like it's not now I'm building ZT and the podcast. No, it's like I'm building ZT and 50% of the podcast. Right? The whole weight of the podcast is not on me. So we are basically two of us are inside the game together. So like I believe that it can work. Like I believe that it can work. I mean, I don't think that there's been any scenario in the world of two people building 50% of something and 100% of their own thing. So like nobody can say whether it will work or not. It's just fall out to whatever it turns out to be. But I know I'm not going to quit anyone, and I'm going to give both of them, like you said, I'm going to shine more light on the podcast without dulling the light of system.
You
So
know what
yeah.
I just noticed? Like we give a lot of like truths and secrets on this. Like we give away a lot of like truths and secrets on this show. This is not nice because how can I just be talking about this kind of thing now when we talked about how companies. I was letting see how the end the return on show could be like all those companies that they're like this, but in real sense this is what they are. Those are secrets that business used to thrive. I'm not supposed to give it out just like that for
I
free.
mean, like we're not having 50 million views per per episode,
What
so
are you saying that
relax.
our views are well at
Relax, guy.
the same time you guys are discouraging us from actually like one of the reasons why you guys like is basically you guys. Why you guys not doing this show? I don't understand you guys, man.
Guy, nah, there's one guy that came here, guy, was building his YouTube channel. When did he start? Last 2 weeks. 508 something followers, all this kind of thing. He wants to get it to 1,000 followers so that we
Two,
start paying
two,
him.
2 weeks.
Yeah, in 2 weeks, he got 500 something followers.
500 and something
80
followers.
something followers. So I told him that I have a podcast, and like the guy was like, I want this thing to get to 1K followers fast, 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 fast. I was not telling the guy that he should calm down or that fast things are not good. Then eventually I now told him that I'm running a podcast for the past 5 months. We have something followers. He was not laughing at me. I was like, that is the reason why I'm saying slow, slow. But like when I was telling him that thing, I didn't even have our podcast in mind at all. Like I just objectively said it, right? It's not because of our podcasts have been around for a while and we don't have 40 million followers. That's why I'm telling him that. I'm just telling him what I know. So you grab. I mean, the only thing I believe is just that, like, if you just keep at this thing, year one, even if you get after 1 year, you get barely 100 followers. After 2 years, you get barely 100. I believe that if you just keep at it, like, if you just actually keep at it, just keep at it. Like, we're just going to have 1,000 followers one day, and one day we'll have 10,000. One day we'll have 100,000. And another thing that we said about consistency, like, this thing is not dreadful. Like hitting record on Wednesdays and Saturdays is not something we dread. It's not painful like going to lecture. It's something we love. That's why it can be very, very easily
I was thinking,
consistent with.
can we be doing YouTube shorts or Instagram shorts?
Exactly, yeah.
You can be doing it, shit.
Yes, that is basically what I was trying to say. Like, in as much as it's not flashy videos and long, but like I mean you can talk for like 5 minutes on something and just put it out there.
We can just be like going out and be having the mics and be
And then
going
get
into the street.
Benedict videos.
Yes, okay, get to post videos. Someone I did for free.
Oh my god. A lot of ideas that are around. A lot of ideas are around.
See, when you shed more light on the page, you get to see what's going
Exactly.
on the page.
And I did it now without diminishing ZTA.
Exactly.
Right? Nobody said you have to choose. It's just what I thought.
My hey guy. Again, the how you asked me what was I do to the guy, I was doing philosophy assignment. I'm going to finish it today.
Guy, I think that's it for today, guy.
You will consider as an important guy.